Well, most people assume if you make it to age 50 and you're still married, you'll likely stay together forever. Well, Money Magazine recently reported that the divorce rate for couples over 50 has doubled since 1990. And since that decade is also the time you're supposed to shore up your retirement planning, there's definitely a lot to consider. I am here once again with Cory Sickles, president of Safe Harbor Retirement. Good to have you back, Cory.
I'm glad to be back, Robin.
All right, so today we're talking not maybe the most happiest of topics, but divorce, and it happens. And I'm guessing you have helped many of your clients who've split up, correct?
I have. Going through a divorce is, of course, emotional, painful. But I think one of the things that I'm able to help them kind of go through is the financial side of it. Because when you go through a divorce, odds are you're losing assets, and you're probably going to lose income, and you really need to be able to have a financial plan. And that's really what I'm here to do, is to kind of get them going, to that next step, for their retirement planning.
And then retirement investments, it's kind of interesting to think about that as part of your asset, right? So it's not as if that is null and void when it comes to dividing when you get divorced. So that's a big part of it for a lot of people.
It is a big part of it. You might have pensions, you might have real estate, other types of investments. So you need to kind of go through that process to find out, exactly what you're going to receive. But here's one I think a lot of people forget about, and that's debt. So you need to make sure that you understand not only all your assets that you have, but also all the debt that's associated with that as well.
So, Cory, how do you then help or mediate that situation? When you think about it, do both parties have to come in? I mean, are you able to kind of deal with one of the clients at a time, or?
Usually I deal with one of the clients at a time. Really what we're trying to do is make sure that you have a plan. You're asking the right types of questions more than anything else, because you do want to make sure that, if you're going through a divorce, you want to make sure you're going to get what you should be entitled to. And, I'm a sounding board. You might be also dealing with an attorney, but there's also going to be a lot of emotion involved, going through divorce, but you're also going to be concerned about what's next. I still want to retire. I still need income planning. So we're going to be able to, kind of guide you down that path as you kind of go through the divorce process.
And when we talk about what gets divided as well, money that's not even kind of in there yet is also considered like a pension, something that comes later on. So like, even if you are the spouse of somebody who receives a pension, don't you have some kind of entitlement to a portion of that through a divorce often?
Yes, of course. Depends on how many years you've been married. But, the one thing to really look at is any money earned or any pensions earned while you've been married should be divided, 50-50. One of the things that the court will do is you'll either have a divorce decree, you'll definitely have that, but you could also have what we call a qualified domestic relations order. And really all that is it's going to allow you to maybe roll that IRA or a pension into your own name.
All right. What about for those who are going through a divorce and there are children involved? Are there any other tips for the people in that situation?
Yeah, we deal with a lot of blended families now. And here's the only thing that I would always say is you want to make sure you put everything in writing. So if you're going through a divorce, you need to make sure you're changing your beneficiary forms or maybe setting up a trust or, anything like that. Because the one thing you don't want to have happen is while you're going through this process, something happens to you and maybe, your ex-spouse or even his children end up getting your money.
All right, Cory, final thought I want to ask you. We have seen a lot of ugly divorces. I think everybody in their time has seen one or two. And any advice or what do you do to help your clients kind of refrain from getting to that point?
As you're going through the process, until that money's changed over to you, for example, that ex-spouse can do whatever they want. They can also take a loan out on your 401k now, which includes debt. Another big one that I'd also talk about would possibly be a credit check. You want to make sure no accounts are being set up. Freeze your credit. It's very easy now to freeze and unfreeze credit with apps out there on your phone. So you want to make sure that you're also taking responsibility to make sure no other debt's added to it as well.
Okay, so there is a lot to process. It's why we always advise people to work with a professional such as yourself. You can go to safeharboroh.com to get started. Give Cory and his team a call. Thanks so much, Cory.
Thank you, Robin.